Hello and welcome back to the HOG-POD. And as always, thanks for joining us again. So far this month we have chatted to a number of ladies from within the world of motorcycling, and today we are joined by someone that many of you will be aware of as she starts her 15th year as a chapter director. We've been taking a closer look at the challenges and misconceptions surrounding females, motorcycling, and in particular, those experienced by Harley-Davidson riders in the UK and Ireland.
It's people just like us and just like you and, of course, everybody else who's actually buying and riding Harley-Davidsons that are making the biggest contribution to our beloved motorcycle brand. Many of us have probably long forgotten how intimidating it was to walk into the dealership and also the chapter or the riding club for the first time. And I imagine, and I can only imagine, that it's even more so for females, because as they walk into a mainly male environment, it takes that extra dose of courage for them to keep walking. It's only when we all become part of the chapter or part of the riding club that we realize that actually we're a really friendly bunch and we're all here for the same thing. So joining us today is a lady who has a much longer and far stronger link to Harley than Jared and I, and that's Gill Mogg. Jill, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Welcome, Jill.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, good.
So, Jill, let's get straight into this. Could you tell us a bit about your chapter?
So we're Bridgwater Chapter. It's 34-year-old, so it started in 1989. I think we're the second oldest chapter in Europe. There's Wars are the first. We were very close to them, so we're sort of one of the oldest in Europe. We've had 4 directors in that 34 years. So there was Nigel Villiers, who then went on to be one of the top HOG managers, John Hart, then Dave Holden, and then I took over in 2008. We've got 177 members at present. We used to have around 500, but because we were the only dealer in the southwest in Wales, but now you've got one in Plymouth, you've got 2 in Wales, and riders have got another chapter in Bristol. So we lost a lot of members. 66 lady members and just over 20 actual riders. So yeah, so we're doing all right at the minute. So yeah, it's not a massive chapter, but there's enough to keep us all going.
Yeah, it's big enough, a sizable chapter. I mean, for a chapter even to go as high as 500 members, and of your membership, would you have a high number within your membership of, because, I mean, generally throughout chapters in the UK and Ireland, you have a membership and then you have an active membership that actually take part in the events and rallies and whatnot. So what way is that with your chapter?
So we probably, out of that 177, you've probably got 60, 70 that do everything, because we've got a lot of members that they just want to be part of Bridgwater, so we've got members all over the country really. So I would say probably 60, 70 that are core members that do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we don't really have over here, is it, Jared? Because we are the only dealership, our dealership is the only dealership in Northern Ireland, so we don't have that that competition, if that's the word you're going to use. Yeah. Obviously, down south they do have 2 dealerships, but geographically they would be far enough apart to not be competing with each other. And again, because of where they're based, all of their members, I suspect, are coming from a distance, apart from the ones very nearby. And obviously, where you are, you're saying there are 500 members at one point. That's some number. Was that during your earlier reign? Was it? Or
yeah. So I'm not quite sure when. So Riders opened another one in Bristol and then Plymouth, and the 2 in Wales are quite recent. So yeah, so early years. So the nearest dealer to us was Cheltenham. So from Cheltenham right down to Cornwall, we had sort of every Harley or member that wanted to be in a chapter. So we had, it was quite a big area that we sort of held.
And do you have connections with the likes of Welsh Dragon and Black Mountain and Bristol and Oxford Chapter and things like that? Would you have connections with them, or?
Yeah, well, I'll say I've been around a bit, as they say. So yeah, so we sort of I get on with all the directors. This year we're doing a weekend away with Welsh Dragon, so we'll ride to them and then they'll take us around Wales. We're going to stay over We sort of try and go to as many rallies as we can. Great Western, which is the other riders chapter, we go to their rally. So yeah, we try and do as much as we can with other chapters.
On the rally, I believe that yours is the opening party of the year, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Besides Aviemore, I mean, Aviemore's sort of like become like a HOG event, but the Cider Rally is still a chapter event. This year is it's our 30th, but it should have been 32 because of COVID. We had to cancel 2. So the first year of it cancelled, we actually did a virtual one. So it was all sort of new to us, really. So we did an all day. We had chapter members singing and playing guitars. We got chapters from members from other chapters doing some singing. We had quizzes. So it was just like a whole day thing, which was it was just really weird, but it was quite fun. It was good. So that was just something that nobody had done before. So that was quite fun.
It's incredible what we all came up with, isn't it, Jared?
It is.
During COVID. It's incredible.
We even had over here, we had virtual nights at the pub.
So Cider Rally is the first of the season. So, you've got all the winter, so people are just raring to go. So this year we sold out on site within 2 months. We've still got some tickets left, but then you have to stay off site.
Yeah, I saw that you sold out. That's brilliant. So I was going to ask you about that, but you've mentioned it now. So why not? For people that are still wanting to go, I take it they can still get a ticket, but they just have to be elsewhere. Or is there camping on site, or is the venue?
No, we used to have camping, but then Pontins just stopped it. So if you go onto our website, www.bridgwaterhog.co.uk, and there's a Cider Rally booking form which takes you through to Eventbrite. So you can just buy your tickets. And if they contact anybody on our committee, we can give them some hotels. So the actual Pont is in a little village called Kew Stoke. That begins, so Kew and then Stoke. There's some hotels there, and then they can or Western Supermare, all the Premier Inns and travel lodges, so they can stay there. And that's probably about a 15-minute taxi drive.
And can the bikes be left at the venue?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, there's all, parking. We've got security. They do an amazing job. So nobody gets in and out. So you have a band on your wrist, a band on your bike, and those numbers match. So there's no way they check the back of the vans. So yeah, we have a really amazing security team, and that's 24/7.
I imagine the first rally of the season, it's like opening a box of coiled spring.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's great.
Well, it's great to be in that position in January to say that, right, okay, the tickets are absolutely flying. You're almost sold out. Well, you're sold out. You're sold out for the actual venue itself. That's a great position to be in. So
you've probably got another 50, 60 tickets. The site can hold 800 people. So.
Okay, well, what we will do, as always, is we'll put links within the video and in our descriptions, etc. So if you're in that area or not in that area and you fancy going to the opening party of the rally season 2023, then you can get in touch with Jill or any of her team, I imagine, and grab yourself a ticket. So
what for the person going to the Cider Rally, from yourself, what could they expect?
Well, we're a very, very friendly chapter. Obviously we do the riding, but we are a real social chapter as well. So we've got live bands, 2 live bands every night. Live band just one on Sunday. We have a Ladies of Harley get together. This year it's going to be the Sunday afternoon. Saturday we're doing a grand parade to riders, the dealership, where they're going to put on some music, food, just general fun and frolics, really.
I think what Jared's getting at is, can you get a drink in the night?
Of course you can, yes. I will personally buy you one.
That's me sorted then. I don't know about you, can I?
But you've got to have cider. If you're coming to the Cider Rally, we get like the rough stuff in, and it looks like orange juice. It's like the flat, proper, still cider. So if you come, you have to drink that.
So it's real cider?
Real cider, yes.
For men, Kenny, that's you out. So tell me this then. I hear you mentioned the dealership in that. So I take it then the dealership's participating in this and they're helping you out with this. What relationship? Because different people, different answers. You know, what relationship would your own chapter have with the dealership?
We've got a brilliant relationship. The manager, Andy Heyman, he retired a couple of years ago, so he was there for 30 years. Great relationship with him. Phil Jessup, the owner, great relationship with him. He just sort of lets us get on and do what we have to do, really. So even though there's support there, they just let us get on and do what we have to do. And then last year, Joe, he's from South Africa, he's taken over as manager and has got lots of new ideas. We've got lots planned this year. So yeah, we've got a really good relationship with our dealership.
That's good. It always helps, doesn't it?
Definitely.
And again, I was saying this to Bridie, who who's in one of these episodes. People from the likes of HDRC, you know, like GB or any of the independent clubs, you know, they always have a wee sort of scoff when they talk about the reliance or the connection with the dealership. But obviously in the world of HOG, it is really, really important. And it's, you know, it's good to have the support, but I do think it's equally nice to have, you know, a free reign, and particularly someone like yourself who's, you know, it's not your first rodeo as a director, you know, and you're obviously being re-elected each time. So, you know, the chapter's in a good, steady, safe pair of hands. So having that little bit of freedom, knowing that the support there is, I do think it is valuable. Yeah.
I mean, the dealer, he started in 76. So again, you know, he's one of the oldest dealerships in Europe as well. So as well as the chapter, he's one of the older dealerships besides Wars. So yeah, so you know, he's been around a bit as well, as they say. And
you have are you looking to step away from it, or are you a glutton for punishment, or?
Yes, I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm afraid. Yeah, I mean, I sort of love it now, like I did when I first joined. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere soon unless I get kicked out.
What's not to love? I mean, it's hardly a chore, is it?
I know.
So tell me this, Jill. How long have you been riding?
I passed my test in 96. So that started, my partner, who I've been with 30 odd years, he's been into bikes ever since he was knee high. So wasn't interested whatsoever. So when I was 30, he said, we're going to the Bulldog Bash. I'm like, that. So I've looked at what, you know, we all know what the Bulldog Bash is about. Camping, dirty toilets. Not having any of that. So he said, yeah, we're going. So he had a TR6 Triumph. So I said, well, I'll drive. He went, no, we're going on the bike. So I got a leather jacket and a pair of leather trousers off my mum's catalogue that was just a dress leather jacket and trousers. We went up there and got there. I'm like, no, this is not for me. And then the Friday night, we sort of went and listened to the music. And then Saturday, it was like, oh, yeah, I'm quite liking this. So had an amazing weekend, came back, and I said to my partner, oh, I'm going to learn to ride a bike. And he was like, nah, you won't. You say you're going to do things and don't do it. So I did learn. I took all my lessons in secret. So he didn't know that I was taking lessons. Failed my first test and then passed. And he was quite shocked because I cannot keep secrets. Don't ever tell me anything if you don't want it a secret. So he was just amazed, I think, that I kept it a secret, not that I passed my test. So, yeah, and that was 96. So that's just been, and that's, history then, really.
So your first bike was?
My first bike was a custom 404. So I got that near enough. Well, my partner Barry got that for me. So when I passed, it was a kickstart. It was a nightmare to start all the time. And then a few months down the line, it got stolen from our garage. So that was that. I didn't have one then. So that was 96. And 2001, we were at Riders and I took a bike out for a test ride, came back and my partner said, did I like it? Yes, of course I did. And he said, right, I'll buy it for you for Christmas. So that was a Christmas present. So that was how it all sort of started, really.
And what bike was that?
That was an 883 Sportster.
That was some gift for Christmas.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where it all started. Then 2006, I bought a brand new Sportster Low. Absolutely love that. And then 2020, I've just bought a brand new Sport Glide.
Well, as this show is about, and well, as this month is about, it's Ladies Month, and it's there to highlight more or less, the stereotypes, because people have this stereotypical image of women that ride bikes and they're big and they're muscly and they're tattooed and they've earrings coming out of their eyebrows and hair and everything and whatnot. Well, what sort of reaction did you get when you first started riding?
I think because there was only probably a couple of us in the chapter when I sort of passed. There was only probably just a handful of us, that sort of girls that rode then, and that was okay. But when I took over as director, there were a few eyebrows raised. There was a few comments of women shouldn't be in charge of a motorbike club, and so but that sort of soon went, and they were fine.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you actually there, you've brought it up, so I'll ask you now. So the question I had was, have you ever faced any negativity simply for being a female rider and on a Harley Davidson? Would you be happy to tell us a little bit more about any of those experiences?
Yeah, no, when I took over, there was a little bit, but that only lasted weeks really. But then, no, I think it's, if we sort of on a ride and women turn up on a bikes, it's almost like the public will come to us first and like, oh my God, how do you ride that? How do you hold it up? Isn't it too heavy? But I personally haven't had any negativity, besides when I first took over. Everyone's, really supportive. No, personally, I haven't had any negativity about it.
I know we've only just met, but you've been the director for 15 years. I'm going to take a punt on the fact that you would be very much the boss anyway.
Yeah. Definitely.
If you can cast your mind back to the very, very start of your Harley journey. So I said there in the intro, and I think this has been quite common theme throughout each of the ladies we've spoken to. Old hand now, as in, you wouldn't even think twice, but going back right at the very start, how did you find sort of joining the world of Harley Davidson and joining a chapter and walking in for the first time? Were you phased, or did you take it in your stride?
I mean, I'm sort of quite an easygoing person. So we joined the HOG in 97. So we went to the Bulldog Bash, passed my test. We went in 97. We went to the chapter's meeting. We sort of walked in and we did sit on our own. Nobody sort of really spoke. So then we went home and my partner was like, no, I'm not going again, not going. I'm like, let's just try it once more. We'll go next month. Then we went again and he saw a couple friends that he didn't know were involved with the chapter. So we went and sat with them. And then that was fine. And then again, obviously that's history. But we sort of like our new members we get now, we make sure that they come in. We've got 2 new members reps, which are amazing. So we make them feel welcome from the first day that they come in, because we don't want people to feel, oh, I'm not going back next time. So we try and, we meet our new members, we do new members rides. So we try and make them feel as comfortable as we can.
I think that is important, isn't it? That does seem to
definitely
be key, because again, generally speaking, whoever it is I speak to about chapters, or even I imagine it's the same for an independent riding club. I'm not part of one, but myself, I'm quite a game guy, and I've made no secret of that in previous episodes. And I'll have a go at most things. I do remember specifically walking into the chapter meeting for the first time. It was in an AGM as well, so it was quite a big one, and it was quite an intimidating environment. And I was thinking, oh, what have I done here? But again, as I said in the introduction, it's very, very quickly that you realize, oh, actually, no, these guys are 100%, because, because of certain programs on the TV, you think you're walking into the Sons of Anarchy clubhouse, or, the other sort of MC type scenario. And it is very, very different, isn't it, with HOG? So you said
definitely.
there at the start, you had 66 ladies in your chapter. So that's quite a strong, quite a strong representation, I think, for females. And you said that about 20 of them are riding. The other members, the other 40, are they pillions, or are they aspiring riders, or are they members? How does it work?
Yeah, so they're pillions. The other 46. Yeah, so they're pillions. But with the pillions, you know, we've got a really good group. So the pillions come to everything with their partners. So yeah, we've got a good little group at the moment.
So how does that work then with, because you know, as just Kenny just mentioned there, I mean, 60s is a very good number now of female riders and pillions within a chapter. How does that work within Ladies of Harley?
We only do a couple of Ladies of Harley events only, or ladies only events. We try and keep it sort of inclusive to everybody. So sometimes we'll do, because some of our lady riders are actually road captains, so we might do a ride out with a lady crew, but everybody's invited. So Cider Rally, we do a Ladies of Harley ride, but it's open to everybody because it's just a Ladies of Harley road crew.
Yeah.
So we try and keep everybody, we invite everybody. And then we might do, last year we went to them like a Christmas market with just the ladies. So we might do a couple throughout the year, but we try and keep it inclusive to everybody.
Yeah, you see, the one thing that I have found, particularly over the last few weeks now, in speaking to so many ladies and their opinions on Ladies of Harley, and there's various, you know, sometimes it can be quite controversial.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, as to where Ladies of Harley fit within the chapter, or do they fit within a chapter?
Yeah.
How would you feel about that?
Well, I think some of like the pillions, they don't want to go anywhere without their partners. So, you know, that's why because we don't want to take the wife away from their partner, you know, because they've joined this with their partner. So that's why we try and keep it so that everybody's invited, and we just do the lady road crew. Or it is very controversial, and there are some chapters that do loads of things and there's some that don't do any. So we sort of just try and sort of do a little bit of both, really.
Do you think it would be helpful if HOG themselves, you know, had a specific target or ran specific events or whatever, or got more involved at a national level for the Ladies of Harley?
What, like a specific event, you mean?
Well, specific events are basically just nationally, because Ladies of Harley, from what I've been listening to, seems to be mainly driven from within the chapters themselves. Do you think it would be beneficial for HOG to get involved there somewhere at a national level?
They do they've got a Ladies of Harley training. They've got that I think it's next month, where all the Ladies of Harley officers go up and do their training and then take that back to their chapters. But then it's again, if they do a whole event, would they get enough people to attend? Because I think it is going more where they're in this journey with their partner. So the females wouldn't then want to go and do a separate event. There aren't many single Ladies of Harley. We've got a couple in our chapter, you know, and they go off and do their own thing. But if they had an event, I don't think they would get enough to make it worthwhile, really.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, you know, as to whether or not there's a place for Ladies of Harley within chapters. Some people say yay, some people say nay, you know. We do have a lady coming up now in one of the episodes who speaks for Ladies of Harley on a national level. Be interesting to hear what she has to say about it now.
Yeah, I mean, there are more ladies coming through and more ladies want to ride, but I think a lot of ladies in our chapter that ride, we're no different than a man riding.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why we try and keep it inclusive to everybody.
That seems to be an opinion coming through from quite a few. You know, why have a separate event? You know, why have a separate event for women? You know, a chapter's a chapter. It's men and women, you know.
And we're all Harley riders, so it shouldn't matter whether you're a male or a female.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the Ladies of Harley, so Jill, I'll say this obviously completely and utterly unqualified because I'm a man. I think the idea behind Ladies of Harley appears to be to smooth the path, as with any sport, right, take for example boxing. I love boxing, love everything to do with boxing. I took part in it. I watch it still like most people watch the football, and it's only very recently that that females have started to become quite prominent in the sport. And I just wonder if the likes of Ladies of Harley is used as a conduit almost to, if there are ladies considering it but feel a little bit intimidated and they see Ladies of Harley, would that encourage them to come in, and is it useful in some way? Obviously not as a compulsory thing, and I totally agree with what you just said there about people that join a chapter as a partner. They want to ride in that partnership, whether it's together or as pillion.
Yeah.
But it's do you think that Ladies of Harley is useful as far as a tool is concerned to encourage females to initially come to the chapters, regardless of what happens once they become established?
Yeah. I suppose there is that side of it. Yeah, if they see that there is a lady section and a female on their own, they might think, oh, that's fine, I can go. But I think also it was aimed at pillions as well, because the pillions, they're just sort of sat on the back and not really. So a lot of it sort of in the early days was to get the pillions involved by doing stuff. But I think as it's gone on, they want to do stuff with their partners, like we've just said.
Yeah. So it perhaps is evolving slightly, whereby, it's because there's more and more females becoming riders, there's less and less reliance on trying to keep the pillions feeling part of the story, and maybe it's just evolving slightly. And again, just as my viewing, I see it as if there are females out there that have been considering it because they see it and they want to be part of it. They just think, oh, I can't walk into that. Having that Ladies of Harley, I think, would be a wee hook to say, oh, actually, I would be all right, And then, as you say, I mean, as anyone becomes established within any kind of group, they become less reliant on the additional support mechanisms, I suppose, So do you work hand in hand with other Ladies of Harley in chapters nearby you? Or if you do something under Ladies of Harley, would you do it just as yourselves?
No, a couple of times we've like a Christmas market we put out to, so there is a Ladies of Harley UK Facebook page. So people put on there, Bridgwater Chapter's doing this, all welcome. So yes, we do put it out. If we're doing something, we will put it out to others. And then we have our own chapter stuff. If we do like I said, we went to Exeter Market, but we put that out to everybody. So we do put it on Facebook page if anybody else wants to come, not just for us.
And at the Cider Rally, you must have a Ladies of Harley reception.
Yeah, we do that. It's usually on the Saturday afternoon, but it's the Sunday this year because of the parade going to the dealership. So that's on the Sunday, usually between 4 and 5. So we just have some cocktails. And I think our theme this year is Hillbilly Hoedown. So we've got like a bucking bronco bull.
Yeah.
And that'll be there for the rest of the evening. So we're going to have a competition to see who can stay on the longest, and just cocktails and a big raffle.
Yeah, just going back on your Ladies of Harley, the members of Ladies of Harley, and it's interesting to see that the percentage of the ladies there, it's like 33% riders, 67% pillion, and that seems to be par for the course across many chapters. The percentage of female riders versus male riders. Now it's widely known that the world of motorcycles is very mainly male dominated and can be very intimidating for women to get involved in. Do you think that maybe HOG themselves, harping back to what I was saying earlier on, if they got more involved with Ladies of Harley, do you think that it would promote more women to maybe edge in the direction of maybe purchasing a Harley or riding a Harley or whatever?
Yeah, possibly. But, because they've sort of pushed Ladies of Harley quite a lot over the last few
Yeah.
years. So, and it shows that there are more women learning to ride and joining chapters. So I think it is working. But yeah, whether they could do more. But like you say, Vicky might be able to help you with that when you chat to her.
Going back to you, then, your first experience of buying a Harley, or thinking of buying a Harley, was it a good experience? Was it a very easy transition? Did you have any difficulties there? What was your experience like in moving into the world of Harley?
Yeah, so I say I had my partner bought that bike in 2001. So we joined in 97. So I'd already been in the chapter quite a few years before I had my first Harley. But yeah, no problems whatsoever. The riders dealership were brilliant. I was already sort of 4 or 5 years down the line with them. So yeah, no, I didn't have any problems at all. And then all the other ones I've bought have been, no concerns whatsoever.
So for any women out there who are maybe thinking about it, would you have any words of advice, or would you be able to steer them in any sort of direction at all? Any of the ups and downs of the pitfalls, or maybe what direction they should be looking?
I think it's just about going to your dealership, talking to the salesmen, and taking each bike out. Don't just say you like that, because I think women are like, oh, I like the look of that one. But then, you need to take them all out and decide what fits you the best, the different handlebars, the seating position. So it's not just a case of going in. You have to go in and actually ride one, and see what suits you, really.
Yeah, you see, because even the look of a Harley, as compared to a road bike or whatever, can in itself be very intimidating. Because I ride a Heritage, and anyone that looks at that bike go, oh, I couldn't ride that. Look at the weight of that bike, and it's very seldom known, that Harley holds all of the weight is at the bottom, and
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because when I had the Sportster low, that was really low, and it was hard to pull up. But then as soon as I sat on the Sport Glide, it was like even though it was a bigger bike, it was lighter to pull up. So just because it's a bigger bike, don't think, oh, I won't be able to ride that. Sit on it and move it about to see. But definitely, it was appeared lighter than the Sportster.
So, with regards to the interaction with the chapter, with other chapters, because I know here now the Belfast chapter here, thanks to our director Michael, has started a thing here between Northern Ireland and the south of Ireland. Now we only have here, we really only have the 3 chapters here, 2 in the south of Ireland and 1 in the north. And he has started not so much a rally as such, but more or less a meet-up twice a year. We call it the tri-chapter meeting here, where we have visitation from other chapters, and we all get together and we share our ideas and whatnot. But do you have anything like that over there?
A lot of the chapters in the UK obviously have their rallies, so we try and sort of attend rallies like that. But then when rallies are doing charity events, like the Geordie chapter, they did a massive charity event a few years ago where they rode to John O'Groats to Land's End. So they stopped at the dealership on the way down. I think the coast to coast ride, that the big Lowestoft to Land's End, they're stopping at riders this year. So a few of us are meeting them there. When they do the Iron Hog, where you have to visit all the dealerships, when they visit HOG, we try and get a few members there to sort of say hello to them. So if there's anything going on and they're stopping at our dealership, then we will try and get there to meet them. And the same with us, if we go somewhere, other chapters do that as well.
Have you ever done the Iron Hog?
I did. Yeah, we were the first female group to do it. Elaine Shepherd,
Yes.
Elaine. Debbie Atherton, myself, and Jean Harding. So we were the first lady group to do it, and apparently I was the first one to do it on a Sportster.
You did it on a Sportster?
Yeah, it was,
wow.
Yeah, that was my Sportster low.
Yeah.
It was. I don't think I'd want to do it again, but it was an amazing experience. Yeah, and it was hard work. The weather was absolutely horrendous the weekend we did it. Not going to bed till 4 o'clock in the morning, and I can't remember his name. the old director of Rolling Hills, he lent us a tracker. So everybody was following us where we were going, and it was I think we had about an hour spare in the time when we got back to our last dealership. But yeah, that was. I think everybody should do that at least once, but I wouldn't want to do it again.
I would love the time to do it, but you know, I was speaking yesterday to my partner yesterday. It's actually got to the point now where I have to put a year planner on the wall. Do you know?
Yeah, we did it over a weekend, so you have to do it in 60 hours, I think. And then each dealer you go to, you get extra minutes. But yeah, it was hard work,
it was
but
tough.
good fun.
But
Yeah,
you'd
very
recommend
tough.
it at least
Definitely.
once.
On a Sportster, we were interviewing Vanessa Rock as part of this series as well. She's the girl on a bike, and she was saying how her husband had got a Sportster and did, I think, about 3,000 miles to Croatia and back, and she referred to the seat and his backside as paying a vanity tax, which I thought was a great way to describe it, because
I don't think I'd want to do it pillion.
No. I had a Sportster 72, which is and the idea of doing anything more than just a bobble around for an hour or two, you know, that would be hard. I mean, even on a soft tail, I ride a Heritage as well, and it's a great big comfy seat. You know, I'd still say that's hard going. Would touring be very much part of your chapter's makeup? Do you would you go off on the bigger tours, or would you ride mainly locally?
No, we have done. We've ridden some of the European rallies. Usually holiday, like Kenny was saying this year, Budapest. I've not gotten off holiday this year, so I'm actually flying. But we've been to. I mean, one of my best European rallies was 2000 Lorette de Mar. I didn't have a bike
Costa
then.
Brava.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was in 2000. I didn't have a bike then, so I drove like a backup truck. So I had all the kids, I had all the camping equipment. But the actual trip, we got lost. The campsite that we were booked in the first night before we got to Lorette wasn't shut. So we had to go and find other, it was a total cock up, really. But it was one of the best trips that I can, that was one of the best memories that we had. When we got there, we had a cocktail party, and nearly half the site came to us. And, some of the Europeans, we're still friendly with them now. Due to that cocktail party. So
very good.
Yeah. And then me and Barry and some other chapter members, we got involved with HOG doing volunteering at the European events. So we used to do the tagging of the bikes. Right. So HOG would pay for our hotels and flights, and then we would just sort of work when we were there. So that was real fun. That was nice to see the other side, because in theory we were working.
Yeah.
Well, that was great fun doing that.
I say that was relentless as well. I think anyone that is, in fact, anyone that's organised any type of event, be it chapter or wider, the amount of organisation that goes into it is bonkers. So the guys and girls that run these, the big European ones, that must just be, just stress city for months and months and months.
Yeah.
I mean, we've, talking of that, obviously yours is coming up relatively soon, in comparison. Yeah. So how is the organisation going? Are you ready to go, or is it like everything else?
Yeah,
it'll be last minute?
As soon as the Cider Rally finishes, we start looking for bands and stuff. We've sort of got a really good group of bands. So every now and again, we'll get the same one back. So it just sort of flows, really. We use the same badge manufacturers, wristbands, so they know that we'll be contacting them sort of end of the year before. So it just flows, really. We know who we're dealing with. So yeah, it's pretty smooth.
And what other plans have you got rally-wise for this year?
So we're going to Budapest. Quite a few are riding. A few of us are flying. We're doing Aviemore this year, which both of those are the anniversary years. So I think they're going to be really good. We're going to the Geordie Rally, Heart and Soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a load of us are going up to that. A few are going to St. Ledger Rally, which is
the
2 weeks after the Cider Rally. Yeah. And then just sort of, some other local chapters, and then just local rides, just normal general ride outs that we'll be doing, bike nights, bike cafes that we go and visit, and so just general rides throughout the year. We've got a busy year this year, I think.
And what about Ireland? Any plans to come across to Ireland at all?
No, we did. The last time we went, we were working, I'd say, as a volunteer. We did Killarney when it was the European Rally.
Yes.
So we went and did the tagging there with Dave Holden. He was director at the time. So I was assistant director. So we went and sort of did that. That was great fun. Beautiful place. Lovely.
Yeah, you love it down there, don't you, Jared?
Yeah, we will get back there one day.
I do. We'll actually be heading to Killarney. I think it's the 2nd of June this year. I think it's the 2nd of June this year. And there's a squad of us heading down from Northern Ireland down into Killarney, and I really wanted to go to it last year. I was sitting the night before. I had my bike out the front, packed, sitting, ready to go, set for the road at 6 o'clock in the morning, and at 1 o'clock in the morning finished up in hospital.
Oh no.
So it's definitely 100% on for this year. I'm really looking forward to some really beautiful part of the country down there around, the Cap at Dunlow and the Dingle Peninsula. It's just a beautiful part of the country. It's for me, it's unreal. I just love it, The Wild Atlantic Way is another one that we plan to do this year. Another beautiful part of the country, right down the west coast of Ireland, almost like the NC 500 in Scotland.
Nice.
Beautiful part of the.
Well, we say to every guest, Gill, and this is genuine, you are always welcome over to Northern Ireland. If you do, or if anyone from your chapter is looking at coming over, we have our own rally in August called the HOG-POD. It's legendary status. It's a typical sort of Irish affair. Everyone's very, very sore on the Sunday morning, but great crack. Brilliant riding. We're very lucky over here. We can probably kind of like where you are in your part of the world. We don't have to ride to get to where we want to ride. It's all on our doorstep. So any of yourself or any of your guys and girls in your chapter, even if they're just passing through, make sure they get in touch, and we'd love to hook up with them and meet them down at the dealership and get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and likewise with you, if you want to come to the Cider Rally, or like say if anyone's passing, just let us know and we can meet up and meet them and take them around and show them our local sites. Absolutely.
And listen, for anyone listening, if you go to the HOG-POD webpage, the address is, Kenny?
HOG-POD.com, and you'll see a link to an interactive map. And Jill, your guys are on there as well. There's a link to your dealer, there's a link to your chapter, there's a link to your rally as well. So it's just a central point there. So if you want to know anything about Jill's chapter, certainly go there, click on the links, and all the answers will be there. Gill, thank you so much from us.
Thank you.
Listen, from me, it was lovely to meet you, and hopefully not too far in the future, it'll be in real life as well, and get an actual cup of coffee as opposed to a virtual one. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sharing some of your insight. Again, as someone who's been directing 15 years, you've obviously... You're doing some job to be continuing.
There's a wealth of experience there. A wealth of experience. And yes, just to reiterate what Kenny said, Jill, thank you so much. This is my first time meeting you, but you've been so informative. And I really look forward this year to meeting you at the Hog Rock.
It's been really good to catch you, and I hope that you enjoy the episode.
Lovely. Thank you very much.